Good morning. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We are now officially in spring, past that the spring equinox. And yesterday here in West Virginia, it was like 80 degrees and beautiful. Almost needed to turn the air conditioning on. And today it's rainy and gloomy and 40 degrees and a really good day for just hunkering down. So the weather can't quite make up its mind. But I hope wherever you are, you had a nice weekend and you are ready to take on another week of content. So just kind of a quick update. You all have submitted your first official assignments. Those were due last night. I'm going to spend time this week giving you feedback and grading those assignments. So if you have any questions on grades or performance or anything like that, please let me know. Reach out anytime by email. We can meet by Zoom. Happy to talk to you about sort of performance expectations in this class and ways to continue to develop and strengthen your responses. You will see that I grade using a rubric, so that can also provide some insight of, if you got a certain score and you want to get a different score, what are the differences included in the rubric that can help get you to that next step. So that's the first thing, is that you've submitted your first assignments. I know it feels like I think we've been in this class several weeks, but maybe we're still just getting our feet underneath us because of spring break. It sort of delays things. So here we are now back into full swing and just barreling toward the end of the semester. So you will have a new set of assignments this week. And this week, what we're doing is moving away from just introducing what performance management is to now talking about the role of strategy in performance management. So if you've read chapter 1 and 2, you will be familiar with the fact that there are two prerequisites to performance management. So we can't just jump in and start evaluating employees. We can't just create a plan out of nowhere. There are two things we have to do and have to know before we can start creating a performance management plan. The first prerequisite is a strategy. So we need to understand what our organization's strategy is. What is our mission? What is our vision? What are we trying to accomplish today? What are we trying to accomplish 3, 5, 10 years from now? And then how do we align our performance management system with that mission and with that vision? Because if we are rewarding things that we don't actually want to happen, right, then we might find that there's a mismatch between how we're rewarding and evaluating performance and actually what we want our employees to be doing, right? And that might sound sort of silly, but it happens more often than you might think in an organization, where the things we say someone is doing well is not necessarily what we actually want them to be doing to supporting, the bigger, broader organizational objectives. So it's important that we understand exactly what the organization is trying to do, and then, assess whether or not the system we've put in place to evaluate and encourage and develop that performance, are they aligned? You'll see more of this come through this week when we talk about when we have a case study. So this is the first time we'll be doing a case study assignment for this course, and we'll be looking at GE and their performance management plan and performance management system, and some consequences of changing that performance management system. I will say that this case is older in nature, but it's really sometimes helpful to look back on established organizations, and sort of, hindsight is 2020, as they say. So sometimes it's helpful to look back at things that have occurred in the past, because we have more information and clarity and sort of separation from that event, rather than looking at a company and what it's doing like right this minute today. Sometimes we're not able to really see the big picture while we're still in it. So I think the GE case is really helpful because it's a large organization. It's a well-known organization, so there's definitely name and household recognition. And And they're actually a leader in performance management and staying up to date with trends and trying new things. Just recently, this past semester, we had some employees from GE, the aerospace division, come in and talk to our in-person performance management class about the ways in which they've continually updated their performance management system and how that has changed as a function of the strategy of the broader organization. So when our mission or our market position changes, we also have to shift our performance management system, which isn't something that we might typically think of as being a priority or being one of the first things we need to do. But what we need is this internal alignment, this vertical alignment between what the company is doing and saying and promoting as its values. And then are we carrying that through in how we're selecting employees and how we're evaluating them and how we're continuing to develop and train them? We want all of that to be in alignment. So this week, we're talking all about strategy and how that aligns. Next week, we'll get into talking about work analysis. That's the second prerequisite. So we have to sort of understand the company's and organization's broader mission and vision. Then we need to understand the work itself, right? We can't just create a development plan and an evaluation plan if we don't understand the job, because each job will require sort of a unique approach to evaluating what is important and whether or not the job is getting done well, and if there's room for improvement or not. So we have about 2 weeks of really setting up the stage, and I hope that helps you to see that performance management is not just creating a rating form. It's not just giving somebody a rating and trying to come up with a amount to give them for a raise or a promotion. It's so much more involved. It's so much more scientific. It's so much more systematic than oftentimes we see it enacted in workplaces. But when we take the time and we do it right and we ensure that everything is aligned, we're going to get more from that system. It's going to actually start working from us in the ways that we intend it to work. So taking the time and setting it up and doing the analysis and the pre-work, yes, it's a lot of work. It's a big investment. But once we get a system established, we'll start to see that system paying us back and starting to have some ROI in terms of better and more accurately assessing performance and learning ways to improve and to develop our employees, not just for today, but for the future. So I want to sort of lay that groundwork so that you have that expectation. So I mentioned already this week we'll have a case analysis study. So what you'll need to do is, if you have not already purchased the course pack from Harvard Business Review, you can find a link to that in the week 1 materials and also on the syllabus. You need to purchase that course pack. You'll read the case study. I recommend read the case study, make some notes, read it again, make some notes. So the point is not to sit down and try and do the assignment as you're reading the case study, but really read it and think it through and ask yourself as you're reading, like, how does this relate back to some of the concepts in the mini lecture? How does this relate back to some of the concepts in the textbook? You're sort of pre-quizzing yourself to say, do you see a linkage between what we're talking about from a content standpoint and then what you're seeing playing out in the GE case study? Sometimes doing that pre-work and just allowing yourself kind of open-ended space and time to think and reflect is really helpful for drawing up ideas and learning how to critically evaluate and critically think about some of these case studies. So that case study, you have to read it, and then there are some assigned questions to help you sort of analyze and work through the case study in a meaningful way. You will post that as a discussion post and respond back to your classmates. Notice in the assignment instructions, I've given you some guidance about what it means to have a meaningful reply to your classmates. So oftentimes on discussion assignments, we start to see, oh, that's a great idea, or, oh, I agree with you. And then there's a lot of just, I agree, oh, so great. And it's like very fluffy, and it doesn't really say much. So here the goal is for some conversation, to challenge some ideas, to disagree at times, to correct ideas if maybe they're framed differently or interpreted in a different way, to really have conversation. So it's okay to disagree. It's okay to have a different opinion. That's honestly where the most fun and most learning occurs, but we want to do so in a respectful way. So it's okay to say, like, I noticed you said this. That's interesting. My interpretation is XYZ, and here's what I think about it. So really the goal of the responses to your classmates is to add something to the conversation, and not just adding a compliment or agreement, but really adding a new idea, a new perspective. Maybe it's a personal experience where you're like, oh, you said XYZ. Actually, this happened to me in the workplace. And so I can give you a little bit of credence to what you said, or actually it didn't work out that way. This is what happened to me in this particular instance. So it just enriches it when you think about, what am I contributing? How am I broadening the knowledge in this class and in this conversation? That is really our goal. So we have the case study. We have a quiz just to cover the chapter 3 material on strategy. And then there's another short little mini activity about SWOT analysis, just to ensure we fully understand what a SWOT analysis is, and then how it can be applied back to performance management. So many wonderful things in store. I'm looking forward to working through your assignments and giving you feedback and just hearing more of your ideas. If you need anything from me, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can, again, reach me by email, contact me if you want to set up a meeting by Zoom, by phone, whatever it might be that I can help support you. But here we are, really entering week 3. We should all have our materials. We should all have some energy and be ready to tackle our course objectives for the week. So hope you have a warmer start to the week than we're having here, and can't wait to engage with you more. Have a great day. Bye.